People tend to complicate the process. However, if you want to pass the exam on your first try, all you have to do is simply
What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Unless you are new here, my name is Matt, and to my left I have a very special guest who's also my brother Adam. It's been a while since Adam has been on the show. We did an interview a few months ago, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So we are going to be diving in, and Adam, tell us what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about pretty much 5 tips or strategies or whatever you want to call them. 5 tactics that I wish I would have known about when I was first taking the exam. I was able to put these into practice over time as I was getting ready for it. However, if someone could just hand me a blueprint on how to pass the exam on my first try, this is exactly what I would do.
Exactly, and Adam is actually one of the people that has passed the real estate exam in his first try, and there was a lot of trial and error. He basically over-prepared for it, and in this video we're going to break it down and give you guys a blueprint, or pretty much in his opinion, the main blueprint that you need to study that's going to get you passed on the first try.
Right.
So we're gonna jump into these right away. We got 5 tactics that we're gonna give you guys. So Adam, what's the first thing you do?
So once you've decided, okay, I'm gonna become a realtor, before you can even apply to take the exam, you have to complete 3 college level courses. Now, depending on what state you're in, I know for California, they will do 2 mandatory courses and then you get to pick the 3rd. It's all really based off of what you think is gonna be of most value to you in your real estate career. For me, I did finance because I'm a big numbers guy. So once you complete those 3 courses, you then send them into your real estate office and then go from there.
So as far as the courses go, for the people out there that haven't taken any, maybe online courses, does it have to be, upper division? Does it have to be at a 4-year? Does it matter where you go to school?
So that's a great question. I'm glad you actually bring it up because a lot of people think that you need a college degree to get your license in real estate, but you don't. At least in California, I'm not sure how it varies through states, but from what I've heard, college degree is not an essential or mandatory to get your license. So as far as those courses go, they're not actually college courses. They're college level courses, so you can take them in college, or you can go to your state website. For us, it's dre.ca.gov, and then you can go in, research real estate license. It will show you the credentials you need, and then from there you can pick your classes. So you don't need a degree, you simply go to the website, you sign up there, and then you take the courses from the website.
Awesome. Yeah, seems easy enough, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you want to become a real estate agent, you make that decision, you complete those 3 mandatory courses. What is the next step in the process, right? Step number 2.
So step 2 is one of the most important steps here in the process, and that is picking the software that you're going to go with. You can take classes on, how to pass the exam in person, but if you're like me, you like things a little bit faster, more efficient, working from home, and that's why I would highly recommend an online software. Now, I went with Prep Agent. It's a phenomenal software, and the beauty in Prep Agent is the fact that they can simplify things so much. For instance, we're going to be dealing with massive definitions and different scenarios and taxes and mortgages. It can get extremely confusing, and the beauty in Prep Agent, it takes a very complicated scenario and it breaks it down into almost like kindergarten learning, which really allowed me to memorize and remember on test day.
So how long did you research softwares before you actually went with Prep Agent?
Right.
And does Prep Agent cost money for the people that are wondering about it?
Yes. So actually, thankfully, I saved some time. I did buy Real Estate Express, which cost me like $110 for the year. Thankfully, I was able to get my money back because...
And you don't recommend that?
I mean, it depends. I would say Prep Agent's a better move if you want things a little bit more simplified, but if you like a more elaborate explanation of some of these scenarios and definitions, then maybe Real Estate Express is for you. However, if you're like me, you like it simple, easy, and even kind of fun, Prep Agent's gonna be a go-to. Now, that was recommended to me by another agent who had just recently passed the exam, so it obviously proved to work, and it cost $60 for the year. I know that the prices change, sometimes there's promos, but I'm telling you right now, it is well worth it.
Right, and did that agent that just got their license, did he or her actually pass in the first try?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So it's my friend Geronimo Zuniga. He studies hard, and I know that him and I both talked about Prep Agent, and we both believe it was a big factor in our success in passing the exam on that first attempt.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got some softwares out there. You figure out whether, you do some research, you want to do Prep Agent, you want to do, one of these other ones.
Right.
Let's figure out the next step in the process. So you have the software, you figured it out. So next, let's talk about how to study. Now that you have the materials and the software, how do you study for this?
So that is another big part of this, right? Because you can have all the tools that you need. However, if you don't know how to use them properly, it's going to be a lot harder on yourself. So as far as how to study, I went off of pretty much learning from a guy named Jim Quick. He's extremely big on how to learn faster and better. And his rule is the 20-minute rule. So they say that after 20 minutes of focusing, your brain has a hard time staying locked, and even a 2 or 3 minute break can make a huge difference. So what I would do every night, I'd set a timer for 20 minutes. I would do flashcards for 20 minutes. Then I'd walk around, take a 3-minute break.
I remember
right
because I was there in the apartment with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would hear the timer go off, and then you would be standing up and walking around.
So yeah, as far as how to study, do 3 20-minute segments each night. So that's an hour a night, and do this for at least 3 weeks.
20 on and then 20 off?
No, 20 on and then a 2 or 3 minute break. Like that short period of time is going to make a big difference. So use that 20-minute rule, and also remember to change up how you're learning. Don't just do the same practice exam over and over again. Some nights do an hour of flashcards. Other nights do an hour of the video explanations. And then at the end of the week, start dipping your toes in the test exams, which played a huge role in getting me comfortable for the exam.
Awesome. Yeah, so there you have it. You got the software. We figured out how to study, those little breaks in between a 20-minute segment. I mean, I definitely did that in college and high school.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily, brought to my attention that was that important until you started actually doing it on the real estate exam and practicing for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting into number 4, which is what to do on test day and 24 hours prior. Obviously, there's going to be a lot going on there, but I kind of want to know, how long was it from the time you started studying to the time you took the test?
So are you talking about on test day?
Yeah, so test day from the time you started to test day. Months, weeks?
I mean, to be honest with you, I had a couple of little mishaps here and there with my application, so I had a little bit more time. But I did that, 20-20-20 rule, an hour of studying each night for just over a month and a half. And to be honest, I was way over prepared. It was a breeze. So if you guys are crunching for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you're still going to do just fine.
Good. Okay, that way they're not going to be overwhelmed if they feel like they want to take it. Or maybe they've already scheduled a date and they have software, now they need to study it.
So being a collegiate athlete in the past has really affected my preparation in my life's events, and this being one of them. So I understand how important it is to get ready for a big event. So what I did was I really focused on 3 big things. Number 1 is getting plenty of sleep. Number 2 is making sure that I'm getting plenty of nutrients and vitamins. And then number 3, which is probably one of the biggest things here, is you have to understand when to close the book, when to turn off the computer and say, okay, I'm not going to study up until the minute. I mean, for me, I studied 20 minutes on the day of the test just to run over some questions, build up my confidence, and then go from there. So as far as on the day, make sure you get plenty of sleep, make sure you're eating healthy foods, take some time to meditate, and pump yourself up and say, okay, I've been studying for this, I'm ready to do it. Go in there and get that done.
And I actually can't remember, but did you study up until, was it bedtime the night before, or did you kind of just take it easy that night before?
Yeah, so the night before, I mean, I just stuck with the regimen. I'm a big process guy. Every night was an hour, and I think the night before I studied from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. with those 20-minute segments, and then after that I just got plenty of sleep. So there's no need to crunch or do all-nighters. It does not work. I will tell you right now, I tried it in high school.
I think we all did that in high school.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 5, Adam, we've talked about the preparation, we've talked about the software, we've talked about how to study. Number 5, how do you take the test? So what you told me before was the test is 3 hours and you have 150 multiple choice questions, right?
Right.
So how do you take the test, or how did you, and how would you recommend taking the test to everybody watching?
Yeah, so I'll tell you this much. I took the test completely different than everyone else in there. You go in, it's this stuffy room. They usually put it in some sort of commercial building, and you have all these computers and everybody signs in. You walk in, take your seat, and then you have, like you said, 3 hours, 150 questions. Now, mind you, you can take as many breaks as you want as long as you complete the test in that time frame. So I went ahead and took advantage of this, and instead of doing the 20-minute rule, I did the 25 question rule. So there's 150 questions, so I went through, and every time I'd complete 25 questions, even if I felt great, I'd stand up, walk out, go get a drink of water, and it's funny because I kept on taking breaks, but I felt very confident. And even though I took so many breaks after every 25 questions. I was actually the third person to finish out of 60.
Wow.
So that just goes to show you don't need to cram, you don't need to lock in. All you have to do is study and prepare properly. So on the test day, you can stick to the process, handle those first 25 or 30 questions, take your break, and then come right back to it. And doing that alone will help you pass the exam.
How many other people decided to take breaks like you?
I didn't see a single person take a break.
Everybody was just staying in there like the SATs.
A lot of people, they get nervous, they
in.
freak out, you know, and they think, okay, I have to finish it. But for me, it was like, look, I've got 3 hours. You've even got a timer. I've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna stick to my process.
How many options did you have in the multiple choice? Was it 4 options like A, B, C, and D?
Yeah, 4 options. And another cool thing though is just remember, if you don't know the answer to a question, and this is all digital, at least the test format is, if you don't know the answer to a question, you can skip it. And then once you complete the test, it will drop you back into the file of all the questions you didn't answer. And then you just play the game of process of elimination.
How many questions did you have at the very end that you kind of skipped over?
16.
16?
Yeah, 16
And
questions.
did you just roll through?
I mean, you know what's funny too, is on my second time reading them through, out of those 16, I'd say at least 9 or 10 of them, the answer came to me really quick.
Really?
So I just needed to like kind of break away. And you gotta remember too, when you're going through question after question, sometimes things can start to bog down your brain. So taking those breaks and everything that you don't know the answer right off the top of your head, putting them in that file and then doing it at the end is really gonna help you and increase the chances of passing.
Also, one more thing that I know you told me after you got back and you completed the test, you told me that you had to skip a couple questions, and actually by doing that, pushing them to the end, you went through some questions that actually jogged your memory, and you're like, oh, I know the answer now.
Yeah,
because you would read through other questions and now you know that this is the answer to that question, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's another big thing to think about. Remember, a lot of real estate jargon is repetitive. So a lot of these test questions on Prep Agent and on the test, a lot of them are going to sound very similar, but if you skip a question, you might go 4 or 5 questions more into the test, and then the answer to the question you skipped will come to you because you read it on a different question.
Perfect. That just gives everybody an idea of it's okay to skip questions because you might think of the answer later, and it's going to pop up at the end since it's digital, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So since you guys stayed to the end of the video, we have a bonus tip that we're going to throw in there, and Adam actually told me that this is very important.
Yeah.
And did you actually do this?
Yes, I did, and I'm glad I did. So, bonus tip. Before you start this whole process, just remember, it's gonna take a while. The government takes a while because they have to process documents in the application. This is at least a 3 to 4 month process. In that time, take advantage of it, and when you're not studying or at your day job, go out, talk to different brokerages in your area. Talk to different, real estate agents in your area and see if you can find a mentor. So the day that you pass that exam and you get that golden slip of paper that says you can buy and sell homes with people, you're not going to be left empty-handed. You'll have someone to go to and immediately get on a course that's going to set you up for success.
Right. That way you don't have to go and it's like, oh, I got my license now it's time to go find
Yeah, and I see that quite a bit.
Brokerage, right? Exactly. Awesome. So I do want to thank you very much for sticking through this video. I want to thank Adam for being here. And if you guys haven't actually seen our last interview, I'm going to go ahead and link that video right there by Adam's head. And if you guys haven't already subscribed, hit that right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you over there.